Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Struggling Christians. It's your host, Ruth. Now, it's been too long, guys. It's been too long. I've missed you, and I know you've missed me too. So that's why I am specifically ready for today's talk. Now, today's message. So basically, now we're now structuring the messages according to month. So for the month of September, we're touching on the power of testimony. So it's going to be really short because a video has been released for this already. So just go to my YouTube channel, search Struggling Christians Podcast, and you should be able to find it. Now, if this is your first time joining me, my name is Ruth, and just know that I like to talk, and at the end of the day, this is a podcast, so you don't have a choice. So, first of all, let's explain why I've been away for so long. A lot has happened. I've had to plan the launch of this new structure that included a YouTube channel and a bunch of things. I now have a mastermind group. Shout out to you guys. I love you guys for what you're doing. I now also I'm going to be putting my audios on YouTube, which means I'm going to be making about 2 videos in a month. There's going to be only one audio, one video technically, but they're going to come out as 2 videos eventually if the audio has to go on YouTube. I don't know if you guys understand. So as a result, you guys are not going to be hearing music anymore because of copyright issues. So I won't be able to add music to my audios anymore. You just be hearing my beautiful voice and maybe some nice tunes on the ground. What else? I've also gone to camp. NYC orientation camp. And I kid you not, I had the most amazing time. Plateau One, if any one of you are listening to me, shout out to you. I have so much love for you. My roommates, you guys made my stay super exciting. I love you guys. It was a really good time. It was very challenging for me because obviously I could not keep up with posting. My bad, but I had a time of my life and I'm back now. I am like 3 shades darker than I originally am, but it's fine. It was for the best. So I'm just going to skip a lot of things and then just go into today's words. If you do have any questions for me, you know that you can always reach me on my email address. That would always be in the description box. And you can always put a comment on SoundCloud or anywhere you're listening to this on Spreaker. And since it's going to go on YouTube also, you can also just leave a comment on YouTube and I would respond back to you. Today's topic, let me rephrase that. This month's topic, testimony. We're focusing on the power of testimony. So basically, what does testimony mean? In the Old Testament, testimony comes from a word that says do again. So hence, testimony reveals what we expect God to do again. So he's done something for you. You're sharing it with other people because you want other people to see that God is capable, that this is what God is capable of doing if only they can trust him and believe in him. I'm sorry guys, I have a cold, so just bear with me if I sound funny. Now, sharing your testimony encourages other people. It releases God's power to act and just do exploits. Sharing your testimony, guys, it has effects on both believers and unbelievers. Now, I would break that down for you. Jesus specifically commands us to give testimony. E.g., look at the story of Jesus and the man when he casted out demons from the man he casted out demons from. He said to him, return to your home and declare how much God has done for you. He was basically saying, go and give testimony. That's in Luke 8:39. In Psalm 9:11 also, he also says, sing praises to the Lord who sits on the throne. Tell people of his deed. So basically, that's in the Old Testament and the New Testament. We can all agree that the Bible, the word of God, God commands us to give testimonies. So now, practically, what does testimony do? What's the essence of it? Testimony motivates God. Like, it shows God that you're grateful. So that's the number one thing it does. It just shows God that you're a grateful soul. You recognize what he has done for you, and you're willing to share it with other people. And at the end of the day, a very primary mission of you being a Christian is to share the gospel. And sharing your testimony is a very powerful way of sharing the gospel. Testimonies are as powerful as faith, guys. A testimony, like, your testimony leaves the enemy powerless over you, because it's like, even, and sharing your testimony is not even just for people. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's for you. It's for you to remember that this God that was able to do this for me, what more? Why can't he do this other thing for me? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it leaves the enemy powerless over you. It brings shame to the kingdom of darkness. The devil does not want you to rejoice. When you're sharing your testimony, you're not sad. You're happy, you're rejoicing, you're joyful, you're saying that this is what God has done for me. And so the devil, like, he's always sad, because his main aim is to steal your joy. And so when you testify, you basically leave him handicapped. Testimonies can also be prophetic, because God might want you to give a testimony. You don't know, when you're giving your testimony, you don't know who else is going through what you've been through, and obviously you got a breakthrough for that issue. So you don't know. It's very prophetic for some other people that are going through the same thing. It allows them to say, you know what, I can get a breakthrough also, if this person can get a breakthrough. And that in turn also points out to, the effect that testimony has on believers. So as a believer, if you share your testimony inside of a believer, it could be prophetic to them. It could give them insight towards the way God works. And, if you testify, as I said earlier, it just allows God to do more in your life. Also, for unbelievers specifically, unbelievers come to Christ because of your testimony. As weird as that might sound, you're standing somewhere, you're talking about something that God did, and an unbeliever is standing right there. You basically motivate people to come to Christ, because they're thinking, why am I not with this God? Like, bro, even me that I'm a believer, yeah, when I see some things that God has done for some people, I'm asking, like, I don't understand how I cannot be a believer, because even as a believer, I still need that prophetic message. I still need that motivation, that encouragement. What more an unbeliever? It's like, I'm just alone in this world. Why would I want to be alone? It ignites faith in people. It basically just encourages people to want to be in the sight of God. It plants a seed in the hearts of unbelievers. Now, somebody might hear something today. They might not know how that thing subconsciously starts to work in their life. When you give your testimony, you plant a tiny seed in the heart of an unbeliever, and that seed would eventually grow, and that unbeliever would eventually come into, the cabana, the circle of God. It leaves no fruit in you that the enemy can use against you. Let's see Revelations 12:11. In Revelations 12:11, it says that, and they conquered the accuser, which is the devil, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. I already mentioned this earlier. The power of your testimony against the devil, it leaves him powerless. You conquer him by the words of your mouth and your testimony. So please, guys, I encourage you this month, if you're not the type to give testimony, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to go in front of your whole church or in front of a group of people to give your testimony. Sometimes God even leads you to specifically testify to a certain type of persons or to people. Just let people know what God is doing in your life. Like, you don't want to be selfish. You don't want to be keeping God's goodness for yourself alone. So please share it. Share the love of God. Share with other people how much he's doing for you, what it means to you. Like, I would love to do that every day, all day. Because, as I said, the most important part of testimony is for you. Like, every time you remember, every time you talk about what God has done for you, it helps your faith. It helps you also remember, because as human beings, we're weak, we're frail. Every single time, we're bound to deviate, we're bound to have doubts, we're bound to worry. But if you remind yourself through your testimonies that this is what God has done for me, and He can always get me through whatever I'm going through. Sometimes what you're going through in the present time is not even as big or compared to what you've been through. So why not? Why wouldn't He do it? That's the question. So thank you so much, guys. I hope that we learned a lot today. I hope that we will start giving more testimonies. If this is your first time on this platform, don't forget to follow us on SoundCloud, Spreaker, iTunes Podcast. You can always subscribe, and on YouTube now. So thank you so much for listening. I hope to meet you next month. Bye-bye.